Hey, man. Alabama fans, I need y'all to listen up when we had this conversation today on some real stuff. I need y'all to listen up because what I'm saying is not opinion. It's fact. It's backed by statistics. And there's no reason not to believe otherwise with what I'm about to share with you. Check this out, man. Let's get in the game and talk about this. What Alabama can't do. Is Alabama in trouble? And really, do y'all need to just calm down? You're talking about Jalen Milroe and the Pips, the perfect weak side linebacker, right? Put him next to the mic.
Not going to take up a lot of time, but I want to say that I'm excited about what.
Okay, forgive me, my brother. What's on your mind?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just still sorry for all the other content creators now that we have this mega star back in our presence.
Let's get into the conversation because I think we've been tricked. I think a lot of the hype around this season coming in, a lot of the numbers get misconstrued. Like a lot of people still have a mind to be stuck in 2012, 2013 when it comes to college football, but not just college football, Alabama football. Like people are still looking for 2013 numbers, 2014, especially when it comes to the defense. I'm telling you, man, this is not your uncles. This is not your childhood college football for all my 90s babies, 80s babies. This is not our childhood college football anymore. The game of football is no longer what it used to be. I'm gonna show y'all some numbers. And I'm going to start off from the origin. All right. So what we tend to do as fans when we're, especially as analysts, quote unquote analysts, and people that cover the game of football or any sport, what you tend to do is you try to see the track record. You try to see the history of a coach, player, whatever. That's what your primary basis of what their future projection is going to be based off of, right? When you're projecting. Now, what I need everybody to understand is projections are literally just that. If you look at the word projection, in short, it's not actually, it's factual predictions, right? Based off of evidence gathered off of over a period of time, right? That's what we can classify it as. Now, when we look at one of the claims that Alabama can't run the ball, and I can't echo this enough. Alabama can't run the ball. All right, this is a huge claim. I have to jump on this one early while it's fresh in my brain, and then we're going to attack the other ones too. I'm saying attack because it's a strong narrative that's being pushed, and a lot of the fans who claim to watch the game of football don't want to understand the philosophy part of the game. They just want numbers, right? And that's what fans do. They don't necessarily need to understand the game. They just want numbers. And so when you don't have, if you don't have a if you don't have a 100-yard rusher in a game, the run game struggled. If you don't run the ball 30 times in the game, the run game struggled. And I am on the other side of that. After coaching, I had a 6-year stint of coaching between middle school and high school football. I learned so many different analytical aspects to the game as far as what you're going to have to live with in order to produce, right? And I think that's what Alabama and Ryan Grubb and this offense have come to a point with. I truly believe playing against Florida State and playing against a solid front in Florida State, an athletic front, right? A front seven that was very athletic, and then to play against an aggressive secondary. They weren't the best in coverage, right? Florida State secondary wasn't the best in coverage, but they were aggressive. They were very physical. I think that was the best way for Coach Grubb, Coach Kalen DeBoer, Coach Sheridan, the whole offensive staff to truly evaluate what this offensive capabilities were. Because even though we lost that game, there were moments and spots in that game where you can go back and look at the film and be like, hey, if you execute this at 100%, it looks like this. Look at what's developing. So there's a lot of different things that can be built on from that game. And we've seen those things built on against Wisconsin and against ULM. I don't care about the opponent. We saw Georgia go out and they struggled with the same game plan that they utilized against Tennessee. majority of their game plan, other than putting the ball in the air more than they did against Austin Peay because Tennessee was able to score with them, right? You saw Georgia's offensive line struggle in the same spots against Tennessee as they did against Austin Peay. I can't say the same for Alabama's offensive line. I can't say Alabama's offensive tackles struggled in the same area against Florida State as they did against ULM and against Wisconsin. I can go to Caden Proctor's game 1 and say, okay, that wasn't a problem in game 2. And then I could find a problem in game 2 and then look at game 3 and be like, okay, that wasn't a problem in game 3. So when I see those consistencies across the line, one, let's look at this. Let's look at the numbers. All right. I don't want to get all into the details of factoring in concepts and all of this stuff. I just want to talk about the numbers. This is what y'all want, right? This is Washington 2022. Right, let's go to the offensive rushing numbers. Let's go to the rushing numbers here. I'm going to go yards average. This is the first year under Kalen DeBoer. Look at the amount of attempts amongst the running backs when they didn't have a clear-cut RB1, a 50% clip to RB1. Then you see another 30% to RB2, 20%, 10% to RB3, and then you spread the rest of the last 10% amongst your special gadget players, your slot receivers, your quarterback design runs, the scrambles. That's what those stats are. So, and no 1,000-yard rusher, but look, quality. Look at the total yards. Look at the total yards by these backs. And the yards average, the yards per carry average. Look at those numbers, 6.3, 4.9, 4.7. Let's skip over. Let's go to 2023. I got to go to 2023 now, chat. After year 1 they had no running backs coming back from the last year. Everybody came into the season hurt. Transfer running back Dylan Johnson came from Mississippi State. Let's look at the carries, though. Everybody talks about this 1,000-yard rusher. If you go back and look at the season before with Ryan Grubb and a running back by committee type personnel, nobody had 200 carries. The max personnel in the back, the one in the backfield, that he had 140 carries. So I look at these numbers. They were forced to force feed Dylan Johnson. So of course he's going to be able to build a rhythm if he's getting an average of how many carries a game? You're talking about 14 games. We're talking about an average of 25 carries a game for just one running back. And you got to think Jeremy Bernard was using that jet sweep motion. You had the wide receiver Will Nixon was utilized in that run game. These guys provided your spot, jet sweep, your carries out the backfield. Same thing we're seeing from Alabama from Jeremy Bernard. Like your gadget players helping the run game. But look at the yards per carry average, 5.1, close to 5 yards again. You look at last year, the previous year, what was their yard per carry average? 4.6, 4.9, 4.3, 3.2. That's what surprised a lot of people. Washington's interior run game. That's why they had the best offensive line, voted the best offensive line in 2023. But it was all in Kalen DeBoer system and Ryan Grubb's play calling that put them in position to be awarded the best offensive line that season. That's 2023 at Washington. Let's go to 2024 at Alabama. First year without Ryan Grubb now. Without Ryan Grubb. We know what the offense lacked last year. We're not going to sit here and play. We know what they did. They told us what they did. They told us how they had to tailor their offense in order to work, right? But even in that, still, y'all, look at the running numbers. Look at the attempts. Look at how everything is divvied out. Look at how it's divvied out, chat. Because I'm not just talking at this point. This is facts. This is their philosophy. They have experienced great success running this style of offense, this style of play calling at multiple stops. You get 9 wins from this style of play calling, this style of rushing. Look at the yards per carry average. 4.3 by your lead. And that's your quarterback. We know that we're not going to get 168 attempts by any quarterback in this quarterback room. That's just crazy. But even in limited attempts and limited opportunities, look at the quality of production. This is what I say. When you go look at the numbers, at any point in time, I can expect my running back to average anywhere from 4 to 5 yards a carry based off of these numbers. It's all starting with the offensive line being able to produce it, the style of play calling, right? The personnel available in the back, they're going to be a running back by committee. So for y'all that's looking for that 100-yard rusher, if we have a guy that breaks for 100 yards, it's going to be because he has maybe 1 or 2 explosive runs in a game. And that's generally due to bad tackling because we don't run a run blocking scheme that's set up to combat the 7-man box or the 8-man box. We want you, if you put 7 in the box, if our run game threatens your defense that much, that's what we want. Because we want to attack you vertically, and when you have a lot of players in the box, just simple. And I'm just making sense right now. I left the numbers alone because you really don't have to continue to go into the numbers. If you're going to load the box with 7 like Wisconsin did, right? And you're going to give me a heavy box. You're going to lean another DB from the secondary, push him under 10 yards, under 12 yards. You're daring me to utilize my receivers and my passing. I would fire Ryan Grubb if he didn't test it. I would fire Ryan Grubb if he didn't, because now you're attacking the confidence of the quarterback. You're not allowing the quarterback to do what he's supposed to be able to do, right? And that loading the box with 7 doesn't mean you're going to get a blitz every time. But if you got 7 guys within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage, right? And they're within that tackle box, they're within 1.5 yards of that tackle box, in that 6 or 7 yard range, you got to test them in the pass game. An extension of the run game. RPO looked good this past weekend, the last 2 weeks, even against Florida State. Lack of effort made it look bad, but you're talking about the run game in itself had to be respected all 3 weeks. Explosive runs were displayed. Yes, week 1. Let's take accountability. Week 1, Ryan Grubb got away from the run game. We'll take accountability for that. He took accountability. The run game could have been a lot more impactful if you stay with it. The pace of play calling could have changed up. You got away from it early. Don't know why. Offensive line did not play bad. And I'm going to get to that topic too, because I'm tired of y'all coming for my hogs up front. Now, we look at the numbers, though. Everybody wants a 100-yard rusher. Let's look at game logs from Washington 2023 season. I'm gonna go back there. First game, though, look at what happened in the run game. Got excited in the pass game. Same thing. I listen. Oh man, I didn't even. Y'all, I gotta give myself a siren for this. I almost said, my God. You know, y'all ever been in church and the Holy Spirit give you something good, and you be like, my God, I just got something good. And I'm gonna give credit to the Holy Spirit. I ain't ashamed, but I think football Jesus smacked me with that one, chat. Listen to what I'm about to say to you. This staff is so consistent, right? They're so consistent. I mean, so consistent. How many rush attempts did we have against Florida State? It wasn't the 25-30 that Ryan Grubb in his interview said that we were target for. And yes, Boise State and Washington, that's a whole different game, different personnel, all that stuff. But the pace of play calling still is consistent. 19 rush attempts in that first game. And then as you saw the season go on, right, they were able to be a lot more balanced, right? A few games throughout the season where they're a lot more balanced. Alabama, let's get the stats up. Alabama 2025 football statisticals. But great info, Smook. Glad you're giving us knowledge on this topic. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to educate, show everybody, not just talk from my feelings on how I think it should look. I'm just looking at a proven system that's won a lot of games or a lot of stops. And now you got better quality talent, quote unquote, at Alabama. I think when you bring a winning product to a better product, better assets, I think you should continue winning. And Alabama 9-3. 9-4 overall last year. That's winning, right? It's not national championship, but you give it a year to get settled. I think we're starting to see it get settled, and I don't think people are actually. I think people are number watching instead of actually paying attention to what's happening. This is the game, and I want them to start fixing this too. 29 attempts, so it was only 22 attempts. It was only 22 attempts in the game. They were counting some of the rushing attempts with Ty's sack yardage. First game got away from the run game. You see that? 29 attempts. You have 43 dropbacks and 29 attempts. Got away from your balanced play calling style. Still yard per carry average, though, before you got away from the run game. You were getting up to that clip. You getting up to the clip. I think you take away Ty's negative rushing throughout the game, you don't have a 3.0. Tony White, an aggressive 3-3-5 style defense where they're bringing the extra DBs closer to the line of scrimmage, playing in the overhang. Aggressive blitzes off the edge, run blitzes. I mean, aggressive. So you look at it now, you turn around against ULM, of course, you want to see the run game get effective. 36 attempts against ULM, 5.9 rushing, right? And ULM played base everything. They didn't load the box on a lot of plays. We were able to get explosives when we had numbers, when we matched numbers or we had the numbers. We was able to get explosive plays. That was positive work to see. Now you come in against Wisconsin. Wisconsin says they want to take away the run game. They don't want us to have any explosive runs. They saw the explosive run game against ULM. They saw the opportunities against Florida State. They saw it. So they said, you're going to have to beat us in the air. You're going to have to beat us through the air. All but maybe 3 snaps, chat. All but 3 snaps. They had 7, 8, sometimes 8 in the box, right? Alabama runs the ball 22 times in this game. And this is why I say it's effective, because when you have a team that's stacking 8 in the box, they're not trying to give up any yards per play. They're not trying to give up any yards per carry. This team is committed to keeping your offense, your run game, not a factor. I say it was a factor because when we had 8 in the box, you were still able to gain 3 and 4 yards. How many times did we get behind schedule or behind the sticks in the game against Wisconsin? Yeah, we're gonna talk about we're gonna give them the excuse that their offensive line was beat up and they were missing their starting quarterback. We'll give them that. But defensively, our offensive run game versus their defense, which was healthy, a defensive front that averages, they only give up an average of 2.8 yards per carry so far this season. We were able to get over their overall average yards per carry, still maintain ours. You look at where we're at for the season. That 4.3 clip is only going to get better. You got other opponents going to pop up. This run game, we're getting Jam Miller back. It's going to get better, right? But this is no difference. This is a consistent from what we've been seeing from Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb's staff and their play calling from every other stop. A 10-2 stop at Washington, a 14-1 stop at Washington, right? Talking about programs. Just starting to implement systems and philosophy that fit personnel. The consistency is there. Now, closing argument with Alabama can't run the ball. I'm not saying that it's an explosive run game. I don't expect it to be. I didn't expect it to be coming into this season. I didn't expect to see a 1,000-yard rusher on this roster. I didn't expect it. When I started going back and I started looking at how many carries they would give guys, especially that first year, Jalen Miro took a lot of carries out of Justin Haynes, Jam Miller, Bellies, even Richard Young, with his injuries. I believe it was games when he was healthy. If you hand the ball off and you utilize all the running backs, you see a better quality run game. But what he did add to it was explosiveness, right? The run blocking scheme, the zone blocking scheme, the interior zone blocking scheme right now that Alabama is running is effective. A lot of teams are so afraid. And as a coordinator, you in this day and age, you're expecting your pass rush to be more effective than your run stopping defense because of how much space you have to account for. So there are some coordinators who are going to pick their poison and live with the results. Meaning, Wisconsin's defensive coordinator said, beat us passing. And we'll live with it. If you can beat us passing, that's how you're going to win. And Alabama was able to do that while still maintaining a solid play call for the game, a balanced play calling style. 22 rushing attempts in this game, right? 30 pass attempts. That's pretty balanced. You can't get more balanced than that. That's closer to 50-50. That's about as close to 50-50 as you're going to get. Was that about a 55-45 clip? I'm just trying to state facts, Chad. I'm not going off opinion. I'm just going off the numbers. When it comes to Alabama in this run game, this run game wasn't designed to be an explosive run game, right? And so the bad thing is for the opponents, right? If Alabama's run game becomes explosive, if Alabama's run game is explosive against your defense, you're in trouble because that's not the aim. We want an effective run game. When it comes to the assets in the room, you got five running backs in the room right now that could be a bell cow at any other university. Why would I burn them all out by just 30 carries? It's not going to happen. Max effectiveness is when you're fresh. You get solid pass pro from the running backs when they're fresh, not when they're beat up from running the ball 20, 30 times before the fourth quarter. Offensive line builds momentum with balanced play calling. Patience in the run game is important. So I like where we at. The first year where the Alabama offensive line actually has to carry out actual run blocking schemes in the new system. They didn't get to do it a lot last year. You heard the offensive line talk about it, man. Having to be able to play on the fly with Jalen Milroe. So that's my rebuttal to the Alabama can't run the ball. I'll go live and we'll talk about the other debate. Alabama can't stop the run. Alabama can't stop the run? What? Man, stop it. Hey, listen.
Remember, when you see me in the streets, holler at me. Say, put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Put me in the game, coachsmook. Put me in the game, coachsmook.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Put me in the game, coachsmook. Put me in the game, coachsmook.